When you reach the point that you've finished planning, you've got all your tasks in there, you've got all your durations in there, all your relationships are established, and as far as you can tell, this project is ready to go. When you've finished planning, you need to save the baseline. The baseline is what the actual data compares against to give you variance when you start tracking your project. For example, first of all, I'm going to save the file. So I'll just click the Save button on my Quick Access toolbar. And OK. Having saved the file, I would now save the baseline. Saving the baseline makes a lot of things happen in the background that you don't see. So to demonstrate what saving the baseline means, I'm just going to insert a few columns so that you can see what it actually means. So this is purely for demonstration purposes. For example, I'm going to right-click the column heading Start and then left-click Insert Column. And I want to insert baseline duration. So I'm going to press B and then I'll find the baseline duration field, and there it is there, and I'll click it. The baseline duration is currently showing a whole lot of zeros, which means the baseline hasn't been saved and the baseline duration hasn't been populated. Now let me just add a couple more columns so you can see what the baseline means. I'm going to right click the Finish column and insert a column. I'm then going to insert a field called Baseline Start, so I'll click on Baseline Start. The baseline start is currently not available because the baseline hasn't been saved. Let's add one more column. I'm going to right-click Predecessors and insert a column, and I'm going to choose Baseline Finish. Now I can see also that the baseline finish is currently not available, just like the baseline start, and just like the baseline duration is all set to 0. These columns will eventually become populated when I save the baseline, and because they're often hidden, you don't see them being populated. So I've just brought them into the foreground so you can actually see what's going on when you save the baseline. The other thing to acknowledge also is the tracking Gantt. I'm just going to switch this over a little bit. This is my Gantt per se, and on the view bar I'm going to switch to the tracking Gantt view, and then I'm going to click a task and scroll to task. What you see here is that each task has one bar in the tracking Gantt, just a single red bar in my case. This also tells me that the baseline hasn't been saved, because if the baseline had been saved, each task would have 2 bars. It would have a bar representing baseline and a bar representing actual. So I just wanted you to see that before we save the baseline. So I'm going to go back to my Gantt chart. Now I'm ready to save the baseline. I'll just move this over so you can see those columns we added. And to save the baseline, I'm basically going to ask you to click on Project in the ribbon. And in the Schedule group, you have the option to set or save the baseline. So I'll click Set Baseline and Set Baseline again. I'll then click OK to set the baseline for the entire project. Immediately the baseline duration column is now populated, and we'll also see that the baseline start has been populated and the baseline finish has been populated. The baseline duration is an exact mirror of the information in the duration column. You'll find that the baseline start is an exact mirror of the start column, and the baseline finish is an exact mirror of the finish column. What happens when you set the baseline is all the information in your current columns get copied across or mirrored in an equivalent baseline column. Then when we start tracking the project, it'll compare actual against baseline and give you variance. Variance as in your start date, variance as in your finish dates, and variances in your costs and your durations. What I'd like to do now is actually hide those columns. They were useful just to see what saving the baseline meant, but they're not actually what we want to be showing. So I'm going to right-click Baseline Duration and hide that column, right-click Baseline Start and hide that column, and I'm going to right-click Baseline Finish and hide that column also. Okay, I'll bring the split back over. Now let's go and have a look at the tracking Gantt. On the view bar, if I click the tracking Gantt button, before we only had 1 bar per task, and now we have 2 bars per task. The top bar for each task is the actual duration, start and finish of a particular task, and the bottom is the baseline start and finish and duration of a particular task.